video, I'm going to be sharing with you a few French words you need to know if you plan to create your business in France. If you haven't created yet, make sure you save the video because this will come super useful. Just to reassure you, you don't need to speak French to run a business in France to freelance. You just need to have a few keywords so whenever you make declarations, you are talking about the right thing. So let's start with a few words that you need to learn in order to create a business in France. The first one is super easy. It could be easy, but actually there's several words for the same thing. And it's called les ventes. It's your turnover. Le chiffre d'affaires. Turnover, le chiffre d'affaires, also shortened to CA. What's your CA? Quel est ton chiffre d'affaires? Quelles sont tes ventes? And sometimes you also talk about les recettes. It's the money you've made, les recettes. It sounds like a cooking recipe. You probably heard about a recette for a cake, but les recettes is actually your sales. And for macro entrepreneur, we even talk about les recettes encaissées, means the sales you've cashed in. We want to know about those you've cashed in because, for instance, as a macro entrepreneur, you actually declare the turnover you've cashed in. If you've invoiced for 10,000 euros, but you were paid just for 5,000 euros, you declare 5,000 euros. For other business type, you just declare your turnover. So, for instance, les ventes, le chiffre d'affaires, le CA, we shorten it, ou les recettes et les recettes encaissées. That's the first one you want to be knowing. The second word you want to be knowing, if we're talking about turnover, now we're going to talk about expenses. Les dépenses, also called les charges d'exploitation, the expenses that you have in order to run your business. So these expenses is any expenses that you're going to have to pay for in order to run your business, whether it's a rent for the premises that you where you're located, your electricity if you have a shop, your goods that you're buying, your stock, software, suppliers, and so on. So it's your expenses, les dépenses, les charges d'exploitation. The next word that you want to know about is called les charges sociales. Les charges sociales are the social charges that you're going to be paying to a body called URSSAF in order to have a health cover, a pension, access to a training fund, and just paying towards the generic French system. So les charges sociales are paid by your business to URSSAF. Next word we want to know is le bénéfice, your profit, le bénéfice. So we're taking les ventes moins les charges d'exploitation, your sales minus your expenses, and we get your profit, le bénéfice. The next two words I'm going to be sharing with you are specific to micro entrepreneurs and is part of the compulsory accountancy activities that they have to keep a track of. So the first one is called le livre des recettes. Le livre des recettes. So you probably know about livre, a book, a recette I've just explained a moment ago was like your turnover, your sales. So basically, le livre des recettes is a logbook that is compulsory on which you have to actually write down all the sales that you've made. So that you have the date, the reference of the invoice, what was the service for, how you got paid, and the amount you were paid. And parallel to that, if you actually have an activité commerciale, when you buy to resell something, you also have another logbook to keep, which is called le livre des achats. So it's a book to log anything that you've purchased for your business. So le livre des achats is only compulsory if your activity you have some buy to resell. So if you have a shop, e-commerce, you're buying some goods and you're reselling it to someone, you have to keep a logbook of your purchases, and it looks very much like the livre des recettes is whatever coming in, and le livre des achats is whatever is coming out. The next two words that we want to know, they go together. There's le devis, and that's a quote, and then once the customer has accepted it, le devis becomes une facture. So your facture is an invoice. So just as a reminder, in France, if you have a business, it's compulsory to write an invoice, at least business to consumer above 25 euros HT without VAT. It is compulsory to write an invoice, so you have to make that invoice for your customers. I see a few people who just forget it. They're selling online using Stripe and PayPal, and they forget to send an invoice because Stripe or PayPal might send a receipt, a reçu. But a receipt is different from an invoice. A receipt is just the receipt to confirm you received the payment, but you have legally to write une facture and invoice. So if you are using PayPal and Stripe, just look into it, because there is a functionality whereby you can actually design an invoice within PayPal, within Stripe. If you're using an online bank account like Shine, again, you can do the invoice directly from your bank account. And there are quite a few legal mentions to add on your invoices. So make sure you do sign an invoice. If you just realize through watching this video that you forgot to do this, make sure from today you start doing invoices, because you could get a penalty fee for every missing invoice above 25 euros. The next expression I want to be talking about is le salaire. So le salaire is your salary, your payslip, la feuille de paie. But when you're freelancing, you may not necessarily have a payslip or a salaire. That would be for people under a French incorporated business such as a SAS-SASU, because as a president of a SAS-SASU, you are going to be paying yourself through a salary, un salaire, une feuille de paie. But if you are self-employed, actually there's no payslip. You don't write a payslip to take money out of the business. You take money out of the business when you judge that there's enough income for you to afford to take some money out, and you have to decide how much you take out. So it's up to you to decide, relating to how much you need to keep for your social charges, for your running expenses, or if you have an accountant, it's something that you would talk about with your accountant before you take money out. But if you are a micro-entrepreneur, you're simply going to be taking money out of the business. So for instance, you would do a bank transfer every month from your business bank account to your personal bank account. So when we have a business in France, we tend to talk about la rémunération, that's the income, la rémunération du gérant. Gérant is the person managing the business, and rémunération is the income that you take out. So if you do a bank transfer and you want to trace it or make it easy to see that it's the income you took out of the business, you could rename that bank transfer rémunération du gérant. That's pretty advanced French here. You can also call it rémunération de l'exploitant. Now you are on C1 French level. So rémunération du gérant. Don't talk about salary, because there's no salary. Il n'y a pas de salaire when you're freelancing. You have an income that you take out of the business. The next word I want to be talking about is le bilan comptable. Le bilan comptable. And another one that goes with this is le compte de résultat. So if you've never heard about it where you have a French business, don't worry, because for instance, for micro-entrepreneurs, you don't have to do one. Le bilan comptable is your loss and profit account, and it's not compulsory as a micro-entrepreneur, because all you have to do is to declare your sales to yourself. But if you have a French incorporated business, EARL, SARL, SAS, SASU, or if you're a sole trader under régime réel simplifié, called entreprise individuelle, you have to produce a loss and profit account, le bilan comptable, and basically you would hire an accountant that you would be working with on a yearly basis, and at the end of the fiscal year, the accountant would produce your loss and profit account, which you will then declare in a simplified version to yourself and to the income tax. And the last one I want to be talking about is le revenu. And that's going to be my motto for this year. I want you to stop using income, because in French, le revenu is the income that you take out of your business, like your the entrepreneur's income, the remuneration that you get in order to work for your business is called le revenu. And you don't want to be considering, I know that in English it's income, but in English income is also turnover. So le revenu is the money that we get out of a business. So if you have a SAS-SASU, your income would be your salary and the dividends that you're getting from your business. If you have an EARL or SARL, that would be the rémunération de l'exploitant, so the money you take out of the business. And if you have a micro-entrepreneur, it's slightly different, because although you're taking some money out of the business, your income, your business income, is considered as a fixed percentage of your turnover. So your revenue, if you're a micro-entrepreneur, if you're providing services, your income is seen as 66% of your sales. If you're buying to resell, it's seen as 29% of your sales. And if you're providing some manual services, it's seen as 50% of your sales. So le revenu is the income that you get paid from your business in order to work. And as a reminder, SAS-SASU, it's your salary and also your dividends. EARL, Earl, sans entreprise individuelle is rémunération du gérant or your profit. And for a micro-entrepreneur is a fixed percentage of your turnover. So these are the words that I wanted to share with you today that I think you need to know in order to create or run a French business. If you want me to record a second video on this same topic, then please add the words that you would like me to explain below this video and I will record a second version.